afternoon. Welcome back to my little gardening show. We just got done processing sweet corn about an hour ago, and took a little break from the canning, preserving of food. But I wanted to take you along here as we got a little something in the mail this past week. And what I've got here is pretty much mint. This thing's in mint condition. It's an old National Pressure Cooker number 7. I've got one of these, but the handle's broken. We do a lot of canning, so I wanted to pick up one more because there's times when we need all of them going. So this is kind of the first test run of this canner. I did check the seal, and it was pliable. You know, like it wasn't dry rotted or anything. Everything seems to be in really good shape. It doesn't look like it's been used hardly at all. The original paperwork, the tray inserts, a lot of things that we don't have from my grandma's canner, that's missing from my grandma's canner, is included with this one. The handles appear to be in really good shape. And here comes Emma Rose to snip some rosemary, probably. Onions. Oh, onions. You're going to snag some onions off the rack over there, huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, came with the paperwork, tray inserts, a lot of neat little things. So I thought, well, let's give it a try. Bring it up to pressure. So I've got a few pints of green beans we're going to try this thing out with and see how it goes. Picked this up on eBay for, I think it was 36 bucks. Got it on an auction. You know, a lot of these little canners can be found at like estate sales, things of that nature. There's a lot of them online that are up for sale. You know, where people nowadays, you know, they're not into canning, they're not into, you know, a lot of them anyway, it seems like, aren't into putting up food because it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, you know, and a commitment to eat at home. Doesn't do any good to put all this stuff up and then you're still, you know, eating out. And, you know, not that it's bad to eat out, but you know, I know that we probably do a little too much of that ourselves because it's just easier, you know, to go grab something. But there's nothing like pulling things out of the freezer or pulling a jar of vegetables or whatnot out that you've grown yourself or you preserved yourself. It does taste better. So anyway, you know, there is a lot of emphasis nowadays. There's, I guess, especially the millennial generation, is they're kind of foodies, into eating local, and maybe some of the old ways starting to gain traction with them, where they're interested in where their food comes from. You know, and people in general, I think more and more interested in where their food comes from, what big government's doing, what these big corporations are doing. You know, they do a lot of marketing, advertising, convince us otherwise. There's a lot of, you know, and I'm speaking in generalities here, but, you know, money's a motivator. So there's a lot of these companies have lobbyists and things that are getting laws changed. You know, even like the organic food label. Things that maybe say organic aren't necessarily organic how we think they are. You know, as there's some of the regulations have been relaxed to allow things that aren't necessarily organic, but because there's money and stuff involved, the laws designed to protect us really aren't, you know, protecting us as well as they could be. You know, because a lot of this stuff that it doesn't make money, you know, and there's competing interests involved. So, but one way around that is to, try to, get into growing some of your food, get into preserving and putting up some of your food. And start small. You don't have to do everything, but maybe just pick a vegetable you eat a lot of, like green beans or corn or something like that, and try to find if you don't want to grow it yourself, try to find an organic source, a source that's where they're growing it responsibly. They're not using the pesticides. They're not using all these synthetic fertilizers and chemicals. And just try your hand at it and see what happens. Anyway, that's a little bit of a rant, kind of talking about things here. But I know it's more and more important for us. And for us, it started out really as more of an economic necessity because I got 5 kids, and food's not cheap. It came out of that. Also came out of work stress. I was in a job that was very stressful, and so gardening became an escape from that, a hobby. And didn't realize how much I would enjoy growing food, growing vegetables, and now it's a real passion of mine. I really enjoy it. It's also been really good for the kids, taking them along on the various things that we've done, getting to spend time with them. They haven't always enjoyed it because there's things that they'd rather be doing, and it's not maybe as much of a passion of theirs yet. But they do enjoy being in the garden and, for the most part, spending time with me there. So that's kind of how it started for me, just economic necessity coupled with work stress, got us more interested in doing things like this. Really just not having the resources and everything. I know from the looks of things, kind of where we're at now, things look good and all that, but, we're basically, this is my in-laws' home, and we kind of got a informal agreement with them where they're kind of helping us make this transition when I switch jobs. And they've moved to a condo. They're downsizing and weren't ready to sell their house, so they're letting us live here. And it's worked out pretty well. Maybe long term we'll stay here, maybe not. Really depends on how a number of things go. But right now we're kind of enjoying it, and just it's been kind of neat, just being in the neighborhood and being able to do some things. And then also with my dad living nearby and having access to some property that and being able to do things on a scale that I haven't been able to do them before, up until last year. That's been really neat, and confirm some things there. So who knows, maybe there'll be an opportunity to do this on an even bigger scale. Grow food, maybe as a side hustle, so to speak. Be able to earn a little bit of money, get involved with farmers markets or something like that, or maybe get involved with like a nonprofit, and help people grow their own food. Who knows? Still there's some ideas there rolling around, but for now we're just enjoying it on a smaller scale. So we'll kind of see how things happen. We'll see how this canner goes. Let's see, is there anything else we want to talk about? So I just again want to encourage you guys out there. Maybe you've stumbled across the channel and this is the first video of mine that you're watching or whatever. Just want to encourage you to try your hand at canning, try your hand at putting some food up, maybe even growing your own food. just a lot of benefits, you know, other than getting to, you know, knowing what's in your food and all that. Just the how relaxing it is. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, I guess that's it for now. Until next time, happy gardening.